Hello lovely students and welcome back to English with Lucy. You're probably a bit shocked by the title and the thumbnail. What do you mean there's no future tense? Why should I stop using it? I'm going to talk about the future tense. Are you intrigued? Well, just saying the future tense is considered incorrect. Why? Well, because there's no such thing as the future tense in English. I know. Mind blown. If you look in most grammar books, you will likely see a section named something like talking about the future and not future tenses. In fact, there are only two tenses in English, the present and the past. These tenses are then further divided into aspects like continuous and perfect. We tend to call each tense plus aspect a tense. For example, the present perfect tense or the past continuous tense. It's just simpler to think about them like this, and it's probably what you've been taught at school and all through your English learning journey. Anyway, back to the future. A key feature in English tenses is verb inflection. In the present tense, for instance, we add s to third person singular verbs, and in the past tense, regular verbs often get an ed suffix. For example, like, likes, liked. However, the future differs from the present and past tenses in a significant way. We don't have a specific verb inflection to indicate it. So, there's no future tense, technically. But I think it's so much easier to think about the future as a tense in the same way as you think of the present and past tenses. So I'm taking a stand. This video is about the future tenses, and I'm going to explain how you can use them in English. And as always, I have created a free PDF. It's going to go through all of the future tenses. Yes, tenses. Starting with will all the way down to the future perfect continuous. It's a really useful PDF to have. I think it's going to help you a lot. And I've also added a quiz at the end so you can test your understanding. Future you will thank you for downloading the future PDF. If you'd like to download that, all you have to do is click on the link in the description box. You enter your name and your email address. You sign up to my mailing list and the PDF will arrive directly in your inbox. After that, you've joined my PDF club. You will automatically receive my free PDFs each week alongside all of my news, updates and offers. It's a free service. You can unsubscribe at any time. Right, let's start with Will. Will is a very handsome man. And will is also a modal verb that can be used to talk about the future. We use it in what we call the future simple, future continuous, future perfect simple, and the future perfect continuous. The future simple, we have will plus base verb. We use the future simple to make predictions. We also use it to talk about decisions made at the moment of speaking, and we use it to make offers and promises. It will be a wonderful party, I just know it. The dog's getting a bit boisterous. I'll walk him, the contraction there. I will, I'll. And I'll get you another size to try on. Okay, let's move to the future continuous. This is will plus be plus ing verb. We use the future continuous to talk about temporary actions and events that will be in progress at a time later than now. For example, this time tomorrow, we will be sitting down to dinner at my dream restaurant. Or I'll be walking to work tomorrow as my car is at the mechanics. The future perfect simple, will plus have plus the past participle. We use the future perfect simple to talk about events that will be finished at a certain time later than now. It's like we walk into the future and then turn around and look back. I don't normally show you the back of my head. Do you want to know how I do this amazing knot? Maybe I'll show you one day. I have to do a lesson on hair. By the way, we don't typically call this a knot. We call this a bun. A knot is not something you want in your hair. Some examples. We will definitely have arrived by 7 p.m. Or they'll have already eaten before they come round, so we don't need to feed them. And the future perfect continuous. Will plus have been plus ing verb. We use the future perfect continuous to emphasize the duration of an event that will be happening at a time later than now. It's similar to the future perfect simple in that we look back from a time in the future. Again, another opportunity to show my bun. For example, in 6 months' time, we will have been working here for 7 years. Or by this time next week, I will have been traveling for 4 months. A quick note about the future perfect simple and continuous here. With some verbs, you can use either tense with no change in meaning. One of those verbs is work. Take a look. In 6 months' time, we will have worked here for 7 years. In 6 months' time, we will have been working here for 7 years. They mean pretty much the same thing. In the future perfect continuous, there is more of a feeling of emphasis on just how long you've worked there, but you really can use either. Other verbs like this include live, play, and teach. However, with lots of verbs like read, you can't use them interchangeably. For example, by tomorrow night, I will have been reading this book for 2 months. This means that you won't have finished the book, and you simply cannot replace will have been reading with will have read. It's not an ongoing action. If you did, the sentence would not be grammatically correct because will have read means you will be finished reading. But you're not. Okay, those are your 4 future tenses. Sorry, grammar police. There are, of course, other ways to talk about the future apart from will. And we're going to look at them now using my Wheel of Fortune. Or actually, I should call it my Wheel of Future. As you can see, we have will in one corner, which I've already talked about. Below that, we have to be going to. And the structure there is be going to plus base verb. We use to be going to in 2 main ways: to make predictions based on present evidence. For example, John is so drunk, he's going to have a terrible hangover tomorrow. Or to talk about plans and intentions. I'm going to spend the day at home tomorrow just chilling. When the verb in the infinitive is go, we often shorten the sentence. I'm going to go shopping later. We should get rid of to go. Now this looks like the present continuous, which is actually the next tense on my Wheel of Future. We use the present continuous to talk about plans and arrangements. Yep, plans again. We're all making plans for the future. There is often little difference between the present continuous and to be going to when we're talking about plans. However, when we use the present continuous, we have made a firm decision to do something. And what do I mean by a firm decision? It usually means I know exactly what I'm doing, where, when, and with whom. Often, but not always, we have arranged to do something. Look at these examples. I am having lunch with my friend Claire tomorrow. That's an arrangement. We're spending the summer on a yacht in Croatia. Probably booked, but if not, very definitely happening. You could say, we're going to spend the summer on a yacht in Croatia. This is a plan, but it's less likely that you've booked it. It feels just slightly less certain than when we use the present continuous. We don't use the present continuous to make predictions when an event is outside of our control. The sky is so dark, it's going to rain in a few minutes. We don't say it's raining in a few minutes because the weather, unfortunately, is not in my control or yours, but especially
in British people's control. It's just not. We just have no control over the weather. It is one of the worst things of living in Britain. Just every picnic ruined, every wedding.
Look how British I am. Just talking about the weather. By the way, I'm doing something very, very British here, which is complaining about the weather.
And I've just said it's not in my control, yet here I am again. I let the weather ruin my summer this year. It can't happen again.
Anyway, back to the lesson, back to the present continuous. We also don't use it to talk about permanent situations in the future. We are going to live in the countryside for the rest of our lives. We wouldn't say we are living in the countryside for the rest of our lives. We are going to live. And finally, I want to talk about the present simple. Another tense that rather confusingly we use to talk about the future. We use the present simple to talk about timetabled or scheduled events. Our plane leaves at 2:10 tomorrow morning. The exam finishes at 7, so pick me up then. Right, those are the 4 future tenses and some different ways we can talk about the future using other structures. What do you think? Do you find it easier to think of the future as a tense? Maybe you disagree with me and that's absolutely fine. I'm open to hearing your opinions. Just Leave them in the comments and everyone just be nice to each other, please. Right, don't forget to download the PDF that goes with today's lesson. The link is in the description box. You can complete that quiz and see how you do. Also, if you're interested in really improving your grammar, I have my 3 12-week English programs, level B1, B2 and C1. They're really awesome. They cover grammar, vocabulary and pronunciation. In B2 and C1, we also cover conversation, and in C1 we cover writing too. Thousands and thousands of students have participated in these programs and I would love to have you join. Remember, you get access to the community and there's an option to add a feedback pack so you can submit homework and get speaking and writing feedback from my team of expert teachers. If you'd like to check out my courses and see if they're right for you, just visit englishwithlucy.com. I will see you soon for another lesson. Mwah!